Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
I don't know if you want to go into some of the stats or tie back into what we were talking about.
I think we're done with stats. I mean, what I like to, where the real rubber meets the road is when we're, kind of dealing with an aging loved one. A lot of things that people have to understand is parenting your parents is the hardest transition you will ever make.
I love this topic. This is something that hits home with, I'm sure, anyone, because you've actually dealt with, 5 or 6 from my office alone, because I love your stat here, the average caregiver's, basically 49 years old. Yeah. So a lot of us are dealing with that now.
Yeah. And the typical family caregiver is a 49-year-old female, usually caring for a 69, 70-year-old widowed mother. That's the typical profile, but we're all family caregivers on some level. Right. I've went through it on my own just recently, and again, to keep in mind the dignity and the respect that you have to present things to as you parent your parents. I don't love that term, but it really kind of throws out there what it is.
Right.
And
there's a little role reversal for sure.
It is, and you hear something called the powder syndrome. Is if they've ever powdered your tush, they're not going to listen to you tell them what to do. And that's so true. You see, yeah. I see doctors, I see physical therapists, I see professionals who, if they try to tell their parents something, you know what? That's still their little girl. That's still their little boy. But you get someone else to tell them the exact same thing, and they'll do it. So that's why you have to get some help sometimes to get that third party to come in and assist with your parents. And I really don't want to get out of here without talking about the way that we train our comfort keepers, because it's so important that
no doubt
we call it interactive caregiving. And that's where we try to involve the client in their own care, so that the more they're active. There's really 3 prongs. You've got the physical, you've got the mental, and you've got the social engagement. So if you can get someone to be more physically active, it builds their strength, helps their core. What's the biggest fear of a senior is a slip and fall. Sure. So if you keep them active, you keep them strong, you keep their balance, hopefully they won't fall and break that hip or do something that really starts the downhill slide. Then the mental, you can actually, and I need to throw a shout out to my buddy Michael Jones, who's a Comfort Keepers owner in Sarasota, Florida, and he also does a show out there called Thriving on the Sun Coast. And I'm plagiarizing some of the things he said the other day because I watched his show and I really liked it. But you can actually create new neuro passageways in your brain if you stimulate and you just talk to a senior, maybe reminisce with some old photos, get them out for a walk, conversing with them, keeping their mind active. So it's a huge mental level of interactive caregiving. Then of course the last is social engagement. A lot of times the folks that we care for in the home, they've lost a spouse, widowed, widower. They're very depressed. They start to close in. There's no social engagement. Get them out, get them involved in society, the senior center, bingo, whatever it is. So to hit those 3 prongs, both mental, physical, and social engagement, is so huge, and involve them in their own care. Get them involved in their own life again. Losing a spouse is probably one of the hardest things that ever happens. Second probably only to losing a child.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
So again, the depression, and then you also see, as I mentioned earlier, in the family caregiver, the depression starts to sit in too. I mean, the health effects on a family caregiver, as I mentioned, they become depressed. They start to have health issues, and research shows that over 3 years after they've stopped caring for an aging loved one or caregiving on some level, they're still having health issues. So it really takes them.
I mean, they could be burning the candle at both ends if they're actually still trying to work or trying to handle their own families and so forth. Right. I mean, I love that. I mean, if you just tuned into the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m., and we're here with Myles McNamara with Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Another thing I wanted to kind of tease my buddy that's in the studio here, Jason. So you could also, it doesn't have to be seniors that you take care of. It could be people that are in like motocross and hurt themselves and can't take care of themselves.
That's absolutely right. As long as you're 18 years old, because if you're under 18, you need a license to do something like that. But as long as you're 18 years old or older, we can give assistance in the home on, again, any levels of activity of daily living.
All right, Jason, you think Andrea's listening to this? I'm throwing my poor buddy under the bus. He broke his back twice, so his wifey had to take care of him.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just saying, these are the things that people don't think of, that are so many avenues that Comfort Keepers in Home Care can assist with. I mean, I love how you broke up the physical, the mental, the social aspects of it. There's so much involved with your families that you may not see coming or may not know how to deal with. I love that you are so knowledgeable, because I know Lisa Solis, who helps us produce the show. I know Gino's reached out to you, my business partner here. I know Furman, who's actually running the video right now. So if you go to donandgino.com, all three of them alone have reached out to you, and you've given great advice to them. And
you mentioned earlier that it protects the dynamic between the adult child and their parents.
Yeah.
Let us be the caregiver. You be the son or the daughter. I mean, it's so difficult, especially if there's personal care that starts to be involved. You've got the dignity of your mom or dad. Do they really want you assisting if there's an adult brief involved, or what the hands-on care is? So again, let us be the caregiver. You be the son or the daughter, and let's protect that amazing relationship and dynamic between a child and their parent.
All right, so I want to make sure a lot of you, because I'm sure you're going, wow, I need to talk to Myles, because almost everyone, if it isn't you dealing with somebody that needs in-home care, somebody who does, without a doubt, and maybe you can give them some great advice to say, hey, you're dealing with some stuff, because I'm sure you talk to your friends and going, oh, this is so tough. You don't tell your parents that. You go, wow, this is really difficult. How can they get a hold of you?
Well, obviously they can go to comfortkeepers.com, but if they wanted to drill down to my local site, which we address a lot of educational videos.
A lot of information. I mean, you have a plethora of, that whole site has got so much information.
And that microsite is seniorcaresantaclarita.com. And then, of course, seniorcaresantaclarita.com.
All right.
But, of course, they could call me direct at the office, which is 661-287-4200.
All right, one more time.
661-287-4200.
All right, and this is Myles McNamara, Comfort Keepers in-home care. He also has his own show every first Tuesday at 11 a.m. on AM 1220 KHCS called Aging with Power. Kind of what we're talking about. All right, so you have
one more time if you have time for that Caregiver Resource Day on Saturday.
Go into that. Give us a little more details. You got a minute and a half.
It's Saturday, May 9th, 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the University Center over in COC, the Diane Van Hook building. There's going to be a lot of information there, a lot of in-home type resources from home care to other levels of care. I know the keynote speaker. Her name is Jane McNamara from the McNamara.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, the McNamara Law Firm. She does elder care. She's going to be speaking on elder rights and making sure that you have everything in order, from a trust to a will to advanced health care directives. So there's a lot of legal advice. Then there's going to be changes in health care from Santa Clarita. They're going to have Dr. Michael Cohen there from UCLA Health Systems.
Wow.
Comprehensive pain management, Dr. Thong. And so again, it's a great event. Mark it out, folks. If you know someone who's a family caregiver, or if you yourself are a family caregiver, it's Saturday, May 9th, the University Center, the Diane Van Hook University Center building over there at COC, 8:30 a.m.
All right, very cool. Always great information, Myles. Thank you for being a great part of our show, as always, and a great part of APRG. We love having your expertise. Thank you for writing a great article for the Vault magazine.
My pleasure.
And you can get all this information. We go to aprgi.com, and you can click on subscribe to the Vault magazine. It'll rise in your email with some great information from Myles and a lot of great professionals in town. Thank you for being part of our show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. Make sure you can find out so much more by going to donandgino.com. There's over 700 YouTube videos on our YouTube channel and a lot of great information. Thank you for joining us. We'll be with you next week.